What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy. And here is your daily update for Thursday, September 30th. It is the final day of September, right? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, a final day of September. There's only 30 days in this month. And the Dallas Cowboys obviously back at work playing the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. Like we mentioned already this week, it is a quick turnaround for them after playing on Monday Night Football. It was a week ago today that the Panthers last played themselves as they beat the Houston Texans on Thursday Night Football. So Carolina will be traveling back to the state of Texas for the second week in a row. Although last week they got a win, this week we all know they're going to catch a loss. Let's get into Wednesday's injury report for both teams. And as you can see here, as it covers up my beautiful, bright, shining face here, there's really not a lot to kind of talk about when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. And I say that from a very, very happy perspective. Dorrance Armstrong, ankle issue, not a practice participant. Ty Nsekhe with the illness, had the heat exhaustion a couple of weeks ago now, did not practice. Carlos Watkins, knee issue. We knew about this again, didn't play last week, just like Dorrance Armstrong, did not practice. Donovan Wilson still has the groin issue, not a practice participant. So I take this off, and we'll get to the Carolina Panthers in just a moment, but I'm not trying to overly hype you. I'm not trying to just say everything's rosy, everything's perfect, everything's hunky-dory for the Dallas Cowboys, but this is the first time maybe this season, and I realize we're only in week 4, where things have kind of been incredibly positive for the Dallas Cowboys. And by incredibly positive, I mean no new thing. Think about it. Every time there's been an injury report, every time there's been a new day almost, there's been a new setback for the Cowboys. As soon as they lost to the Buccaneers, so they're coming off after having lost. It's Michael Gallup has the calf strain. Lyle Collins is suspended. Randy Gregory's on the COVID list. DeMarcus Lawrence breaks his foot. Donovan Wilson has the groin issue. Ty Nsekhe has the heat exhaustion. It just was a never-ending thing until the skid has finally stopped for the Dallas Cowboys. And we certainly hope these players get well and get healthy soon and get to helping out the team themselves. But it seems like things are kind of stabilizing for the Cowboys right now. This is the NFL. It's a week-to-week thing. And obviously things can happen and change very quickly. But it is nice to see the Cowboys in a positive direction, all things considered, as far as injuries ultimately are concerned. But the Carolina Panthers kind of on the opposite end of that spectrum. We'll get that back up here now. And you take a look at it. Yetur Gross-Matos, ankle injury, limited participant in Wednesday's practice. CJ Henderson, who the Panthers traded for this week, by the way, from the Jacksonville Jaguars, groin injury, was a full participant. We'll see if he ultimately plays. This, again, would be his first game with the Panthers. Phil Hoskins, defensive tackle, didn't practice, but not an injury situation. Terrace Marshall Jr., the thumb issue. I mean, hey, not a great deal, but a full participant in practice nonetheless. We'll get to Christian McCaffrey. John Miller, the guard, shoulder, limited participant. But like we said, on the opposite end of the spectrum, the Carolina Panthers are going to play their first game this season without running back Christian McCaffrey, who has the hamstring injury, did not practice. It's worth mentioning long-term, or maybe if you have Christian McCaffrey in your fantasy football league, that Carolina Panthers did not put him on injured reserve, so they seemingly do believe that he will be back sometime either next week or the following week, because if you place a player on injured reserve, it means they are out for at least 3 weeks. And it's also worth mentioning, now that we are at week 4, that players who the Cowboys placed on injured reserve at the beginning of the season, players like Neville Gallimore, players like Kelvin Joseph, are technically eligible to return to the roster this week. However, Mike McCarthy has said all week long that it doesn't seem like that is ultimately going to be the case. It's a great time to be a Dallas Cowboys fan, like we've said for a little while now. The schedule's coming down as well. If they beat the Panthers, they'll be 3-1. You used to say you win every quarter when there were 16 games in the season. I don't know what you say now that there are 17 games. Things are a little bit weirder. But, and we've talked about this several times already, you take a look at the schedule for the Cowboys before the bye. Obviously, they're now 2-1 after thrashing the Eagles on Monday night. If they can beat the Panthers, if they can beat the Giants, because they should, everybody should beat the Giants, my goodness. And if they can beat the Patriots, they will go into that bye week at 5-1. After the bye, we'll put those games up for you right now. They get the Minnesota Vikings. That's on the road. The Vikings will be coming off the bye themselves. And the Cowboys will have Lyle Collins back. At least he'll be eligible to return from his suspension. We'll see what happens with Michael Gallup. We'll see what happens with DeMarcus Lawrence. It's a long season. It's a marathon. But things are promising. Things are looking good for the Cowboys. And that is certainly nice to see, given the way the last couple of weeks have gone. We have a new video up here on the YouTube channel breaking down how the Dallas Cowboys defense leads the NFL in takeaways, kind of what's going into it and how we can expect that to continue throughout the rest of the season. So make sure you check that out. I'm RJ Ochoa. You know me, of course, from Blogging the Boys, bloggingtheboys.com, everything around here. And yeah, let's do it all again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next time.